Let's see what we got here. I've been editing the other clips. I've got maybe a little bit more to go on it. And let's see, I'm going to clean my palette a little bit. So I got a few colors to get rid of. Check this over real careful. Not too bad. All right. And the question. This looks like a circle. Not necessarily want it to be a circle, but I think I'm going to try one. No, don't do that, Chuck. Take this orange, another orange really. I'm just going to try this. Cleaned it up. Now, it's a deadly color, I'll tell you. I left the dog outside. Well, he'll have to survive on his own. I happen to like these things to move up and out as opposed to so I may have just ruined that. Sometimes taking the palette knife and just cleaning up the surface of an area really does work. Now, I guess I'm going into a second session here. Taking lavender or Provence purple and coming back into it. Very lightly. And putting that thing way, way back into the busting through the fog layer. And oops, a daisy. A little darker maybe. Let's just see what we do here. Yeah, I don't dislike that actually. Go into these trees. So now it's really a color. And the sun is kind of setting back in there, breaking through the atmosphere. And keep going, Chuck. Don't stop. There you go. So while I was editing, I was able to let this set up just a bit, maybe an hour or so. And I'm going to come this way. And the question is how far do we go with this? I think we'll take it out this way a bit. Okay, pretty. Yeah, now I got another one that wants to go out. All right, Scarlett, just hold your horses. I'm going to move that on up into there. And the problem with this one is, okay, now I have a movement kind of going. Oh, nuts. There we go. And a little bit of calypso music. They don't need these glasses to do this. No, I'm deviating. I'm just going to try this color and see what it does. I'll put a little bit of Says Blue into it. To make a transition up this way. So I'm moving an atmospheric move across, coming down from there. And I think it works. Oops. Up here in the front, which this will do fine. And then I can add other colors, but I'll get rid of the paint, which is really what I want to do. So I'll just put this one. That's probably all I'm going to have room for. And I'm kind of doing it in the shape of that the branches are going in. Yeah, like, and I'll keep it above the horizon here. Leave that go through. I want to take this off the canvas, literally. I want the eye to go off. I'll leave these little openings in there. There'll be a lot of pretty texture in this. And tomorrow, I can I will stay above this line. I don't want to go below it too much. I'll get some edges started here that I can work into tomorrow. Okay, so that's sort of it. Go around like that. And these others are back further, and it's pretty dark through there. So that's kind of nice. And my next problem, if I've got one, is this white paint will be no value tomorrow. So what I think I'm going to do is kind of make up some of these sky colors and work it into the composition of the tree. Yeah, let's just see what we got. May regret all of this. So what I'm doing basically at this level is creating another variation of color. Sorry, girl, you're going to stay in. You didn't do it before, you ain't going to do it now. Living good all day. Going out before she gets to it. All right, so I'm just going to kind of break up some of this, and we got more, a little bit of blue to schmooze like that. And then tomorrow, if it's dry, it probably will be enough to do something with anyway. I'll have a nice base started. Of course, now Raleigh wants to go out. It's one of the downsides of little pooches. But They're fun. Oh, there you go. Got something now that's working I like. Put a little lizard into all that monkey business. And now it's coming through. So this will be part of the glow, I guess. I think I'm just going to run some of it up that way. And since there's so much medium in this, I think I'm just going to simply come in and put some red into it at the base. Believe me, at this time of the morning with that sun, this tree will light up if I want it to. Okay. Now let's just take all this stuff. Well, trying to get rid of paint. I'm not so sure I'm succeeding all here, all that much. All right. All right, I'm just going to kind of put it into there. It really wouldn't be getting much light coming this way. The light is coming from a completely different direction. But I can put that there. So let's just go get all of this and see what we get. Might get something worthwhile, I don't know. Sometimes hard to say. Well, that could be that area down here. Oh, I don't know. Now, let's see if that does. Well, maybe. Different color. I'm not sure why I'm trying to use this paint up. It's not that important. So I think I'll just make some marks vertically. Start suggesting these tree. I hope you're getting this. Wouldn't pay much attention. And I'm going to come in through like this, because there's all kinds of branches going up through here, emanating off this bottom piece. And I'll just take some of this over here. There we go. So it might give me something to play with. Okay. All right, I'll move this over this way. And this basically has two trees. I'll leave it open. I took all my scrap paint and kind of threw it up into this thing. And now, this is very early in the morning. So I'm going to add another kind of layer over this. Do a little edge breaking up here. And I guess I'll take it all the way up there. Like that. And continue on. Back here is another set of trees, and this is very dark in here. So what I think I'll do is make it dark. I see it dark, I'll make it dark. I like to go back on these. So that'll give me a little bit of an edge. I'll throw some green into it, and that'll kind of neutralize it. And let's see what we get. Yeah, there you go. That may work really well in the final analysis. There's a little dark right up here too, in that area, and a lot through there. So I'll carry that color up into there a little bit, and throw a little blue in to neutralize it. We don't have any mud yet. A little bit of red, but we'll get there. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing right through there, and it's kind of comes down to about the same position as this one. So this is kind of a pathway, and there's a shadow that goes this way. So I'm going to follow the reference within reason. So again, more green, dioxin purple, oxide green. And let's see what that does. Yeah, that's good. That's nice and dark through there. And a little more green maybe. Yeah, that's good. I just really want a dark. Keep your focus on that. To this, you see it's dark through there. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a little bit of that, not too much. This is still pretty wet, or not, well, it's not wet, but kind of tacky. You know, just get a little bit of shape in there. I know it's dark right through here, so I'll just keep, that unifies it just a bit. And then way back here it's dark. Way back in this area right there. So I'm just going to kind of put that in there. The sky comes down and through to there. So now I want a little different color, I guess. Not sure what I'm using here. I want a little bit different color. I think I'll take a little red into it. Purple. I'm not sure exactly what I've got there. Okay. That's plausible, I guess. It's got a little red cast to it, and kind of separates these two tones, even though you might not be able to see it. And I'm going to go ahead and lighten up, and I'm going to add blue to it. This has a very strong blue flavor to it, the overall morning mist and all that stuff. So I'm just going to kind of put that in there as blue, and kind of see what that does. Add a little green to it. Whoops, wrong green. Now that's oxide, green oxide. In there just as it is, really. Now I'll take some there, break it into that a bit. So I take a little bit there. So the rest of this will be formed up by the sky, and we'll see what happens to it from that point. Take a little dioxin. While it's still nice and wet, I can make some tree branches going up that way, and same here, and because there's a lot of trees going up that way, or a lot of branches and stuff going up that way. So let's see. Okay. And then we have, a very decisive shadow coming down this way from this tree. And another one right here. So that's as far as I'll go with that. Left. Bring it to my view. And take all these colors that I've got. This is going to get a lot of light from the sun, and I know it's going to be warm. So I'm going to take all of my red. This here is the rose, and I guess I'll take that too. Just stick it in there. So I'm going to have a red start out on this one. And I kind of like it over here too, so that's probably a good color. See, it's kind of coming through there on that. I don't know if you can see or not, but anyway. And the question is, do I lighten it up a bit? And the answer is maybe. Add a little green to it too. All right, so I'm just going to go into this thing. It kind of comes down to a thing, and it's kind of more or less in the same line as this. So I just want the shape of this. As colors come along, I'll go ahead and add to it. Okay, kind of about like that. Still going in the direction of a tree. And since I got all that muss in there, I'm going to take it out and put it in this. Take all the green and take some alizarin and a little bit of Wand Brilliant, a little blue, more blue. This is French ultramarine blue, so it has a lot of red in it. And I'm just going to come into this and kind of start to get the center part. And this as well goes up beyond the off the canvas. So I'm going to do that. I want to put you in the canvas, so, and there's a piece coming out this way, like that. And clean the brush. Start taking all of this stuff. Get it on the brush. And stick it in here. So basically I'm kind of after a basic outside shape with a little light coming through it, like that. And I think I got about what I want. I think it also does this here at the bottom. All right, catch the edge there a bit. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll take this little bit of rest and I'll just take it over here. No, it didn't do much, but I'll get some of the highlights here and there. All right. So I'm gonna, I really like the color of this. I'll add more of that in because I think it's the right tone, so I just put more red. What I'm going to do now is start getting all these highlights from the sky. The sky looks pretty good. I think more will happen to it, but what I want to do is fill in the edges around over here, back up through, and all of that. And I guess I'll use the same brush. I'll start that as my mud pile, I guess. Alright, a little white, and French ultramarine blue, and I'll go into this one, and a little bit of that, a little bit of rose. It's Persian rose. And so I'll just kind of try it out here. Pretty good, actually. Take a little more blue, work off the edge. All right, so I'll move this over this way so everybody can see. What I'm going to do is just kind of come in and do a little bit of shaping up. Now that's down there, isn't it? All right, so I'm going to come down this way, and I'll just close that up like that. I'll take greens back into it here in a minute or two. A little more rose. Oops, God. little closer. And a little bit of this. I'll be trying to come back to some of the stuff that I did once before. Merge it in. Come over there. A little lighter. And okay, I'll go with that. And I'll just kind of go in the same kind of direction that I did the tree. Oops. Well, hell. Bring it back down. Anyway, I'll come in here, do a little bit of this through there. That's about the same color, so it works. And maybe a little bit in there will work as well. So I'll just kind of go like that. That'll give me a beginning. And then a little more lavender, pink, medium. Let's see if I come up even close. Yeah, pretty close. Well, maybe not that much. Well, let's see where I can use that. All right, that's pretty close to there. A little more red. Pink, I mean. A little more pink. I think I'd probably use that with pink. Tends to do that a lot. No, too dark. Okay, get it whiter. A little more pink. A little more of this. Okay, that's close enough. And there's none really over that way. It's not quite the right pink yet. So, what I'll do is I'll make it bump, because that's basically what I was doing around there. There we go. A little more. Not quite as contaminated. There we go. I think I'm going to take it across just a little. Like that. Yeah. I like to carry movements across, especially in the sky. Alright. Kind of like that. I noticed it last night. Alright. I think I'm going to kind of work my way across. See what kind of trouble I can get into. Plenty, I'm sure. I don't know about that, but maybe. Maybe, I don't know. Just bust it up a bit. I know that you get a lot of that sun color up into this. So I think what I'll do is I started doing something here last night, or yesterday, I mean. I think I'll just emphasize it a bit. Take that over. I've got plenty of time on this. Well, I'm going to come back. Sorry. No. Nothing like a little indecision. Take this and this. I need a color right there. It's redder. Some of these colors were pretty dark. That's pretty good. A little bit of red straight into it. Let's see if I can move it about a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. All right. And just put a piece there. That's good. Got it. And there's a thing there. I don't know. It's a little movement, baby movement, if you will. All right, let's see. I think I'll move that just up a bit like that. And do I need this anywhere else? Yeah, not really. Maybe there, just a little bit. Kind of play with those clouds. A little bit of cloud details coming across there. I may regret this. But I'll be subtle about it. If I don't like it at 30 feet, I'll just come back in and take it out. Starting to get a mud pile going. And I'll come back up. One of the cool things is that you can create some very nice effects once you start to figure out how to do it. And I just might like that. I just like that. In the end, I don't do anything. Okay. Maybe. Just bust it up a little bit with this, so it doesn't look like brush marks quite as much. And I can't say that was a good move, but that's a better one. I need to carry that idea through over to here. And we'll see where that goes. Lots going to happen up here, I suspect, over time. All right, let me go back up to the higher sky. Turn my little turret. Gonna have to change that shortly. Now we're into blue, so white. Just see what it does. Got some pink in this. Didn't need to get into that so much. And let's just see what it is. Take some of this. And let's just see what that is. Oh boy, I don't want that. That's for damn sure. Well, something like it, but not that in that intensity. A little bit of this. Maybe. I'm just gonna bust that up a bit. won't be over there. And let's just try that through there. Don't want to do that. Alright, so let's just play that. Alright. And maybe it'll play big into something that's got to happen a little later. And let's just go up a bit. And see. Maybe gives that cool morning feel about it. All right. Well, made that brighter, I think. All right, we'll go this way. I gotta get up to that sky color, whatever the heck it is. Up in here. Yeah, it's not too far off. More into, oops, careful, stab the purples. Let's see, where was I? Was up here. And these are little highlights that I'm kind of getting. I'll bring another coat over that. And let's just see how close this is. No, it's not that bad, is it? So what I'm going to do, since this is wet, it's a lot easier to do it this way. Gives a nice edge to stuff. Alright. Just have to redefine my shape again. A little bit. Be able to do that. Just want to get the highlights out of it. More than anything. Reinstating the shape is the easy part. Alright. Can I use that anywhere else? It's not a bad color up in this top part. Well, there it is, right there. Okay. Got a little more red in it. Or warm rose. Let's just go down this path. And get that a little bit wet. And sorry for whispering. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing here at this point. And let's see how that goes there. All right. It's kind of stepping back a bit. Again, going into kind of the direction of this thing. I'm just getting the raw canvas pieces, little things creeping through that you don't want, regardless. And I'll take a little of this Sev's blue into with the rose. And I did into it. I pretty much knew what I did there. You know, there's just all these little holidays that you don't want. And the more you can get them out in the early stages, the better. And okay. Now the overall, let's see, I'm going to go to another reference. This, I'm going to have a tree right here that I'm going to pop out a bit from the background. And I'm going to add a lot more blue to this. Take some white. Mix it all up into this, I think. Get rid of this thing. I don't like handling anything in my hand. So I'm just going to kind of take all of these colors that are on the palette right now, bring it all together, including that. And let's take this, maybe all of that too. So now I've got all of the red, and I'm going to take all the blue, into it, because I want a fair amount of paint there. I can adjust it out. Well, I guess I could do it right here just to see if I've got something. I want it a little darker than that and somewhere in between all of this. So I can come in, take a little green, take a little purple, take a little of this, and a little rose. Always warm it up, you know. Okay, so I got a color. And it's probably not a bad color. Yeah, it is. It's a good color. I'm going to kind of just merge. I have to do this kind of cautiously because this is dry. And I'm just going to put the shape in of that back area. And we decided to take it on over and into this, right to there. And I'm going to break it up through there a little bit. I'm going to have to get creative with the, bring some of that rose down. And and I'm going to bring a lot of that rose back through this thing, I think. And in this, I may put some of it there. That's all in that that range. At least I'll get it wet. So I've got something to go in. And these trees are kind of high. And they've got a little bit of a pattern to them. They kind of go like this down to that horizon. And there. And I can refine my shape a little bit. By now coming in with these rose colors. So thought I might. I think I'm just going to take this, a little of this. Take some more white. Right now I'm just using titanium oil, the regular white. The slower drying, I'll be mixing it with a lot of other stuff. Kind of save my, I'm going to take lavender, that's Provence violet, stick it into this mess. Take that. And I'm going to go into this a little more lavender on this way. All right, I got something there I think I can start to come through with. That's going to be very, little bit there. Now it's got to go dark. So I'll take the green because I want to shift it. And let's try that. Nope, darker. Use ultramarine blue. It's a little more stronger. Gets me back into, there you go, into that kind of coloring way back in. Let this be my shadows for these trees. So like this, I'm just going to come in. And I want more of that. And I'm going to kind of open up some areas. Move that in. This is going to be very red through here, so I could literally do this. See, without any trouble at all. Bottom part. See, it just kind of goes away. But all through here, it's going to have a lot of red because the sun is coming through it. And it's coming through intensely. Moves over. Kind of go like that. Take it out. So now I've changed the color of the where I started. I'll start paying attention to this a little bit. But I'm going to move to paint red, so I want movement within this, and I'll get it. So there's a lot of paint here, and the truth of the matter is I want a lot of paint in this. I'm going to come up above this a bit, kind of start to shape up some of these things close in here. I'm going to go higher with this. I want some of that rose to show through that's in behind. And like that. So I don't know if I've got a great beginning there or what. Take some more of this, and I'll come in. All right, I got it. That just comes down like that, and and come down through there, making more trees and openings. And I'll come back with that color and I'll put it in there at some point. Let's see what I want to do. Oh, I can see where this is going. Who'd have guessed? Me, I guess. And there was something there. I'm going to bring up the reference for that, but I'm going to take it along this edge. See what I'm doing? I'm going to move that color. This is alizarin crimson. I'll just take it into this. And kind of play with it a bit. I'm going to go back to the original deal back here. And I'm going to take that same coloring like that. Refine some of those areas coming down this way. Like that. And looking at this closer, there's a top off on a tree right in there. And this might be a good one. And we'll take some of this blue and this red. And we didn't darken that shadow up there. Like right through there. And this is, I think I'll just take straight blue. And some shadows there. I'll have to bring the sky down and shape that up better. And I can see where I've got to come across like that. Initially I just had shapes to work with. I didn't have a lot to go on. And I still want to go dark, so I'm just taking dark colors at this point. Coming back into what this was. And I can see that that's got to get dark. And let's see, it might take a couple of goes to get it where I want it. But I promise you I'll get there. And okay, I kind of like a little bit of where this is going. Pure red. Back glow. All right. All right, so we got some stuff going on. See, I wet some of that, so as long as I keep going with the general shape of the tree, I'm going to be all right. We're going to have some of this red in here. All the way through this. Okay, we're on the right track anyway. I like what's happening, and I do. I'm going to get some of these things right here before I go too much further. Got so darn many of them. And some of these, that's in pretty good shape there. And so I'm kind of follow this thing around over to this tree. And not sure. So I think I'll collect all this stuff into one nice pile. So I have a really good mud pile developed here that I can take this, that I can neutralize all my other colors with. Now, go through that like that. Maybe I get some of that buggers. Okay. All right, well, I know that the fog is settling in here. And so I'm going to go back to the overall. There's somewhat of a shadow line through here. And then open field or marsh, really, or I guess whatever you want to call it. And so what I think I'm going to do is take a little of this, a little more of this, some blue or lavender, a bunch of that, and some of that too. And I've got this other color here I can monkey around with. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And just about like that. Now I'm just going to move up into this, through that, and just, that may stay like that now forever, but kind of see what I'm doing. And so I am going to raise that up that way, and just I'm going to like that. Take a little more lavender to it. And now as the sun comes this way, it warms this. So now I'll take this, and I guess that this is the Persian rose, and I'm going to move it into this coloring that I had, and I'm just going to come along the bottom. And like that. And like that. As it gets higher, the sun starts to hit it. Behind the trees, it won't hit it so much. So when it starts to get into this area, it shows up a bit. And like all good things, it needs to come through. So I hope you saw that. And I'm going to come through like this. And okay, so that kind of plays that one. Sets a lot of this. Now I was going to have this one tree right there, but I'm Might do that a wee bit different than what I had planned. Alright, so I'm going to get a sharp edge. Kill some of that. And come over. Bring this tree back in play. I want that. It'll be a hard time. So I want to take, I guess, the remainder of that, some of this purple, some of this, some of that. Oh hell, a little of that too. I don't think that'll hurt. I just want a dark tone that's hitting more red, so that I can come back in and play with this tree a bit. Get it shaped back up. Let some of those cuts through come through maybe. Take a little of this, that's the way to do it. Just take it out of my junk. Alright. We're going to have a strong red cast on this particular side. Some straight areas. Like that. It's another one of those populars, I believe. I like popular trees. Gets a little solid through here, so I'm going to make it solid. And take a little of the blue, straight. Because I want to merge, so it looks a little more painterly. Gets a little less so as it goes up. A little more pink, like that. So. Okay, so we've got some branches starting up there, and a little bit of light that hits this way. So I can just go into the blue or the mud there a bit and start to create some stuff. Action. More blue. A little bit of green, because I want to go darker in a different tone as I get to the bottom of this. And there is a deal that goes out like this, kind of a branch. Make that a trunk. It's better than nothing. And take that little mud into that and play this out a bit. Break lines. And that's, you don't want three things like that, right? No, I don't. I've got to figure a way to change that. Leave some opening there. And let's see, let's just take all of that, add a little of this. Change the tone just a bit. Oh, that worked. Makes tree trunks like that. Alright. That'd work over here. Well, sort of it does. Well, it's the beginning of something. I know there's a big trunk right there. The light hits it this way. And then I'm going to take a little of this. pink, because for sure this is getting, there's a highlight across here, so let's just kind of make some marks this way. I'm going to break the line, and this here is coming towards you, so I'm going to lighten it a bit. This is hitting it sort of through there. Just kind of get some highlight, some more highlights, or not highlights, holidays. Good grief. Anyway, all the downsides of getting old. Kind of go all the way up through this with a little bit of that. And then I know that this is going to be a tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a break. It's a different color. I added some of the alizarin orange in it. That's a little, I don't like that so much. So, take this like this. And I'm going to come back, because I've already still had this color in here. Always away. And all right, so that woke that movement up a bit. And not a bad tree, all in all. Go up here and just get some more of those things. Bring it over here so you guys can see it. Hopefully I wasn't standing in front of it. All right, so I like that. I was thinking about this mile marker, as I call them. And what I may do is come in and I don't know. Maybe. And a little of this. Let's just see. That's a better color. Okay. A little bit of stuff coming down through this, like that. Okay, like that. Just more of that. I could easily. All right, like that. That could get deep, but anyways, we won't go too far with that. Just starting to break up stuff. Kind of going with the music a bit. I'm going to bring this way. I've got to connect this to this. See that move right there? Well, I'm going to pull it, your eye crossed, like this. I'll change the color of that as I go. same movement. All right. All right, good to go back and look at that a bit. But first, the heck of it. Just see what the palette knife will bring out. There we go. It breaks up some lines. Okay. I'm going to let that set for just a bit. Gonna let it marinate. Now I like it. Got this dark here. I'm just going to come in and that red is going to obviously be along this side at some point. Well, I said I was going to stop right in this area, and I am. I'm going to do a little shaping on this, so I don't have to go back into it too much. In the tomorrow or later today, whenever I decide to pick this thing up. I want to get it so that I don't have to go back necessarily into the sky again. So I'm going to put that red into this. We'll come back up again and kind of set it up like this. Fuzz the edges a bit. And a little bit of blue, I think. There's a very strong vertical movement on these trees. If I can get it in now, or some of it anyway. So now I'm just putting in pure ultramarine, or pure French ultramarine by Williamsburg. And to some degree I'm using the reference for shadows, but now it's kind of got enough in there that I can start to move with it. And I know it's very dark down there, and I'm going to make it dark if I can. It's dark back in there too. And a few counter moves like that won't hurt. And there's a highlight. Oops. Touchy little bugger. There's a highlight right in through there. I think I'm just going to put in a little more. It's more than an angle. And it's more like it. And another one down there. And it's kind of amazing. I kind of like that. It has a nice feel about it. Take a little purple right there. Yeah. And it's very dark right there. And the way I can get that is with Prussian blue and well, isn't there crimson? will give me that kind of thing that I want there. All right, so a lot of red there. And break the edge a bit. You don't want too much, not too contrived. All right. Kind of got that, I think, shaped up to a shape I kind of like. There's a highlight in there that probably would be one of those things you just do. And let's see, come up there. So I'm getting the little spots out that I want. And I pretty much got them out of there. That side looks really good. And now from this, I think what I'll do is I'll take the rest of this paint. Which is really a lot of white or light color. So I'm going to take all my dark colors, all my purple. I'll take my greens. I'll take that green right there. See if I can shift it to something more neutral that I can use to come across without throwing it out or in the trees. This is the last clip. So let's just bring it over. There's a shadow going across like that. Connecting up this one with that one. And it's a fairly dark color. Kind of cool. So I think I could use the rest of it to kind of put in this shape, since I don't need that color, and that'll be about right, I guess. There's that land going through there. We don't want to get that. There's a bank that kind of comes through there like that. And same as through here. We'll kind of just put it in the shapes that it is. A good way to get rid of the paint that we don't need. Makes good background for what's going to happen next. And let's see, where's the other one? The other one is over there, but there's less of it. And I think I'm just going to take some red. Just stick it in there. It's got a lot of medium in it, so it'll dry nice, quick. And let's see what else we can get. Just kind of clean up this mess a bit. Take all of that. I guess all of that. Might as well get this too. No point leaving anybody behind. And I think I'm going to put it down here. And then take a palette knife, smooth it out, kind of drag it up. Same there. That way if I want to do anything to it, I can. Go over it, all that kind of stuff. And then only one last thing to do is right through there. I'm going to diffuse that a bit with what's left, which is not much. I'll take the lavender, I guess. A little of this. I don't think this is exactly the right color, but I want to kind of create a shadowy, but that can come through later. But it's got a little bit of something in it, you know, like that. So it's kind of merged up a bit. And it allows me to put my ponies in dirt. So it's kind of look like grass maybe. Go in different directions. Okay, so we've got a, I'll get this up at where we can all see it. Okay, so we've got some shadows start with our scrap. Took a palette knife, we smoothed it out. We made a shadow line that'll go through there. Then I don't know how much will stay with the painting, but it'll certainly help a bit. Just kind of hit that a bit in there too. Just break it up. Now, I'll come in and do this. Now, this tree probably I'll work on tomorrow. I'm going to break up some stuff there. So I think we've got a really good beginning here. And got quite a distance. I'm going to do something. Yeah, I just want that to be more. I'm going to come back in there again and play, but I don't want a lot of movement. That's got movement. I don't want a lot of movement on this because there is this thing that's got to happen. Just take a little of this, through this, all of this down, and it's going to move up and around. Now I got a little of that. It's red. Go like that. Okay, it's finished for the day.